ahead and go anyway. Here. I think it's still trying to, okay, it looks like I'm live. Okay, so what I'm doing today is July 6th. I'm reading from First Chronicles, and because it is a lot of this person begot this person, all that, I'm gonna maybe. All right, let's go.
Israel. The sons of Israel were Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. Descendants of Judah. Judah had 3 sons from Bathsheba. A Canaanite woman. Their name.
My goodness gracious.
Were Onan, and Shelah. But the Lord saw that the oldest son man, so he killed him. Later, Judah had 2 sons from Tamar, his widowed daughter. Their names were Perez and Zerah. So
I have never had this much problem with internet.
Judah had 5 sons in all. The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Zerah were Zimri, Ethan, Heman, Calcol, and Darda. 5 in all.
Keeps buffering.
The son of Carmi, a descendant of Zimri, was Achan, who brought disaster on Israel by taking plunder that had been set apart for the Lord. The son of Ethan was Azariah. From Judah's grandson Hezron to David. The sons of Hezron were Jeramiel, Ram, and Caleb. Ram was the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon, a leader of Judah. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father. Jesse's first son was Eliab. His second was Abinadab. His third was Shemaiah. His fourth was Nethanel. His fifth was Radai. His sixth was Ozem. And his seventh was David. Their sisters were named Zeruiah and Abigail. Zeruiah had 3 sons named Abishai, Joab, and Asahel. Abigail married a man named Jether, an Ishmaelite, and they had a son named Amasa. Other descendants of Hezron. Hezron's son Caleb had sons from his wife Azubah and from Jerioth. Her sons were named Jesher, Shobab, and after Azubah died, Caleb married Ephrathah, and they had a son named Hur. Hur was the father of Uri. Uri was the father of Bezalel. When Hezron was 60 years old, he married Gilead's sister, the daughter of Machir. They had a son named Segub. Segub, the father of Jair, who ruled 23 towns in the land of Gilead. But Gesher and Aram captured the towns of Jair, and also took Kenath and its 60 surrounding villages. All these were descendants of Machir, the father of Gilead. Soon after Hezron died in the town of Caleb Ephrathah, his wife Abijah gave birth to a son named Asher, father of Tekoa. Descendants of Hezron's son Jeramiel. The sons of Jeramiel, the oldest son of Hezron, were Ram, the firstborn, Bunah, Oren, Ozim, and Ahijah. Jeramiel had a second wife named Atara. She was the mother of Onam. The sons of Ram, the oldest son of Jeramiel, were Maaz, Jamin, and Eker. The sons of Onam were Shammai and Jada. The sons Shammai were Nadab and Abishur. The sons of Abishur and his wife Abihail were Aban and Molid. The sons of Nadab were Seled and Apiam. Seled died without children, but Apiam had a son named Ishai. The son of Ishai was Shishan. Shishan had a descendant named Ali. The sons of Jada, Shammai's brother, were Jether and Jonathan. Jether died without children, but Jonathan had two sons named Peleth and Zaza. These were all descendants of Jerahmeel. Shishan had no sons, though he did have daughters. He also had an Egyptian servant named Jarha. Shishan gave one of his daughters to be the wife of Jarha, and they had a son named Attai, father of Nathan. Nathan was the father of Zabad. Zabad was the father of Ephlal. Ephlal was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jehu. Jehu was the father of Azariah. Azariah was the father of Helez. Helez was the father of Eleasa. Eleasa was the father of Sismai. Sismai was the father of Shalom. Shalom was the father of Jechemiah. Jechemiah was the father of Lishama. Descendants of Hezron's son Caleb. The descendants of Caleb, the brother of Jerahmeel, included Misha, the firstborn, who became the father of Ziph. Caleb's descendants also included the sons of Marisha, the father of Hebron. The sons of Hebron were Tepuah, Rechem, and Shema. Shema was the father of Raham. Raham was the father of Jorkeam. Rechem was the father of Shammai. The son of Shammai was Maon. Maon was the father of Beth-zur. Concubine Ephah gave birth to Haran, Moza, and Gazez. Haran was the father of Gazez. The sons of Jadai were Regem, Jotham, Geshem, Pelet, Ephah, and Sheaph. Another of Caleb's concubines, Maacah, gave birth to Sheber and Tirhana. She also gave birth to Sheaph, the father of Madmannah, and Sheva, the father of Machbenah and Gibeah. Caleb also had a daughter named Achsah. These were all descendants of Caleb. Descendants of Caleb's son Hur. The sons of Hur, the oldest son of Caleb's wife Ephrathah, were Shobal, the founder of Kiriath Jearim, Salma, the founder of, and Hariph, the founder of Beth Gader. The descendants of Shobal, the founder of Kiriath Jearim, were Haroah, half the Manaathites, and the families of Kiriath Jearim, the Ithrites, Puthites, Shumathites, and Mishraites, from whom came the people of Zorah and Eshtaol. The descendants of Salma were the people of Bethlehem, the Netophathites, Atroth, Beth Joab, the other half of the Manaathites, the Zorites, and the families of scribes living at Jabez, the Tirathites, Shimeathites, and Suthites. All these were Kenites who descended from Hamath, the father of the family of Rechab. 3. Descendants of David. These are the sons of David who were born in Hebron. The oldest was Amnon, whose mother was Ahinoam from Jezreel. The second was Daniel, whose mother was Abigail from Carmel. The third was Absalom, whose mother was Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. The fourth was Adonijah, whose mother was Haggith. The fifth was Shephatiah, whose mother was Abital. The sixth was Ithream, whose mother was Eglah, David's wife. These 6 sons were born to David in Hebron, where he reigned 7.5 years. Then David reigned another 33 years in Jerusalem. The sons in Jerusalem included Shammua, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon. Their mother was Bathsheba, the daughter of Amiel. David also had 9 other sons: Ibhar, Elishua, Elpelet, Noga, Nepheg, Japhia, Elishama, Eliada, and Eliphalet. These were the sons of David, not including his sons born to his concubines. Their sister was named Tamar. Descendants of Solomon. The descendants of Solomon were Rehoboam, Abijah, Asa, Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, Ahaziah, Joash, Amaziah, Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, Manasseh, Ammon, and Josiah. The sons of Josiah were Joram, the oldest, Jehoiakim, the second, Zedekiah, the third, and Jehoahaz, the fourth. The successors of Jehoiakim were his son Jehoiakim and his brother Zedekiah. Descendants of Jehoiakim. The sons of Jehoiakim, who was taken prisoner by the Babylonians, were Shealtiel, Melchiram, Pedaiah, Shenazar, Jechemiah, Hoshama, and Nedabiah. The sons of Pedaiah were Zerubbabel and Shimei. The sons of Zerubbabel were Meshullam and Hananiah. Their sister was Shelomith. His 5 other sons were Hashubah, Ohel, Berechiah, Hasadiah. The sons of Hananiah were Pelatiah and Jeshaiah. Jeshaiah's son was Raphaiah. Raphaiah's son was Arnan. Arnan's son was Obadiah. Obadiah's son was Shechaniah. The descendants of Shechaniah were Shemaiah and his sons Hattush, Igal, and his sons Hattush, Igal, Bariah, Neriah, and Shaphat, 6 in all. The sons of Neriah were Eleni, Hizkiah, and Azrikam, 3 in all. The sons of Elioenai were Hodaviah, Eliashib, Pelaiah, Akab, Johanan, Delaiah, and Anani, 7 in all. 4. Other descendants of Judah. The descendants of Judah were Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. Shobal's son, Reiel, was the father of Jahath. Jahath was the father of Humai and Lahad. These were the families of the Zorathites. The descendants of Etam were Jezreel, Ishma, Idbash, their sister Hazelelponi, Penuel, the father of Gedor, and Ezer, the father of Husha. These were the descendants of Hur, their firstborn of Ephrathah, the ancestor of Bethlehem.
Stopping right there. All right, so that's all we have for today on that. There's 4 sections that we read from. One is from what we just read was the Old Testament, and that was 1 Chronicles 2:18, instead of me stumbling over them. But for tonight, I'm going to go ahead and let the this recording keep going, but let me switch it now from 1 Chronicles to Acts 24. Let's see if we can find it quickly. Of course, that's going to be the New Testament. So let's go on down here. So it's going to be Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and then Acts. And it's chapter 24, and starting with verse 1. All right. Here we go. Paul appears before Felix.
24. Paul appears before Felix. 5 days later, Ananias, the high priest, arrived with some of the Jewish elders and the lawyer, Tertullus, to present their case against Paul to the governor. When Paul was called in, Tertullus presented the charges against Paul in the following address to the governor. You have provided a long period of peace for us Jews, and with foresight have enacted reforms for us. For all of this, Your Excellency, we are very grateful to you. But I don't want to bore you, so please give attention for only a moment. Our accusation by examining him yourself. Then the other Jews chimed in, declaring that everything Tertullus said was true. The governor then motioned for Paul to speak. Paul said, I know, sir, that you have been a judge of Jewish for many years. So I gladly present my defense before you. You can quickly discover that I arrived in Jerusalem no more than 12 days ago to worship at the temple. My accusers never found me arguing with anyone in the temple, nor stirring up a riot in any synagogue or on the streets of the city. These men cannot prove the things they accuse me of doing. But I admit that I follow the way, which they call a cult. I worship the God of our ancestors, and I firmly believe the Jewish law and everything written in the prophets. I have the same hope in God that these men have, that he will raise both the righteous and the unrighteous. Because of this, I always try to maintain a clear conscience before God and all people. After several years away, I returned to Jerusalem with money to aid my people and to offer sacrifices to God. My accusers saw me in the temple as I was completing a purification ceremony. There was no crowd around me and no rioting, but some Jews from the province of Asia were there, and they ought to be here to bring charges if they have anything against me. Ask these men here what crime the Jewish High Council found me guilty of, except for the one time I shouted out, "I am on trial before you today because I believe in the resurrection of the dead." At that point, Felix, who was quite familiar with the way, adjourned the hearing and said, "Wait until Lysias, the garrison commander, arrives. Then I will decide the case." He ordered an officer to keep Paul in custody, but to give him some freedom and allow his friends to visit him and take care of his needs. A few days later, Felix came back with his wife Drusilla, who was Jewish. Sending for Paul, they listened as he told them about faith in Christ Jesus. As he reasoned with them about righteousness and self-control and the coming day of judgment, Felix became frightened. "Go away for now," he replied. "When it is more convenient, I'll call for you again." He also hoped that Paul would bribe him, so he sent for him quite often and talked with him. After 2 years went by in this way, Felix was succeeded by Porcius Festus. And because Felix wanted to gain favor with the Jewish people, he left Paul in prison.
Okay, so that concludes the New Testament, reading from Acts. And now we're going to move over to Psalms. And I think I'll just go ahead and read that one. It's Psalms 4, 1 through 8. For the choir director, a psalm David to be accompanied by stringed instruments. Answer me when I call to you, O God, who declares me innocent. Free me from my troubles. Have mercy on me and hear my prayer. How long will you people ruin my reputation? How long will you make groundless accusations? How long will you continue your lies? You can be sure of this. The Lord set apart the godly for himself. The Lord will answer when I call to him. Don't sin by letting anger control you. Think about it overnight and remain silent. Offer sacrifices in the right spirit and trust the Lord. Many people say, "Who will show us better times?" Let your face smile on us, Lord. You have given me greater joy than those who have abundant harvests of grain and new wine. In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, will keep me safe. And then reading Proverbs, which will conclude the reading for today. Proverb 18, 16, and 18. Giving a gift can open the doors. It gives access to important people. The first to speak in court sounds right until the cross-examination begins. Flipping a coin can end arguments. It settles disputes between powerful opponents. And may the Lord add a blessing to the reading of the word for today. And we'll go ahead and pick up with July the 7th tomorrow. And thank you for joining me. Okay, if you come afterwards, you can leave a comment and say pound reply or pound replay and continue to listen. All of the recordings that I've done live are saved over in the live section of YouTube, and they're also saved over in the section that says video. That means that they've been recorded and that they've been placed back up on the live page. All right, so that's all that I have for you today. I've always wanted to read through the Bible in 1 year. Sometimes we all start and then we don't finish because of whatever reason, life be lifing. But I figure if I go and commit myself to reading live, which usually I'm also live on TikTok, but right now I'm in Africa and sometimes electricity's up and sometimes it's down. So it's actually been very interesting reading all the way through the Bible in 1 year. And we'll be finished on December 31st, 2026. So hopefully you'll join us for another session. And that's all that I have for tonight. This is Nubia of NubianQueen Nation. Peace and blessings. Until next time.